Good night, or have a good evening, everyone. This is Ron Duggar. We've started the recording. I appreciate your time being here for the call on our iHub Global team call. And Bob, as I mentioned, is not going to be able to attend tonight, as well as Tony. So you just have me, and I have just a few slides and a few web pages that I'm going to talk about, a few items. We should wrap up early, and just so you'll know, there is an iHub call that you could join later tonight as well and get some information directly from them. I've titled this presentation, The State of the Light Hotspots, and we'll talk a little bit about that in a minute. But first of all, we need to go ahead and read the disclaimer. All information and discussions regarding cryptocurrencies, installment of operations, iHub support, and educational materials are for educational and entertainment purposes only, are general in nature, and not intended as investment, legal, or tax advice. Each person's personal investment, risk level, and financial situation is unique and different, and the information provided may not apply or work effectively for you. By signing up for and attending or participating in our informational internet or in-person workshops, seminars, and follow-up meetings, you agree that Bob Adams, Ron Duggar, Tony Elder, and all affiliated companies, representatives, associates, or employees, information providers, are hereby held harmless from all liability and loss associated with the information and discussions provided, and as to any action or strategy you may choose to implement with regard to the same. Okay, here's just a few agenda items. We're going to talk a little bit about iHub news that's recent, and also the fact that there's a call tonight. We're going to look into Bob's hotspot. I'm logged in to his account so we can look at his information, and we'll be using his login to iHub in tonight's presentation. And he's had some bump in performance, and we'll show you that. We'll look at Bob's My Network and talk just a little bit more about how we can find the people that are in the process of getting their boxes installed or shipped or whatever, and how we can help move them along inside your own organizations. The deployment board and My Network will really focus on the My Network page here. And then I wanted to leave a little bit of time and update you. I put a slide up there for HNT, the coin, and kind of the talk just generally about the market in general. You're all probably aware that it's been taking a hit lately. So, okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and bring across some web pages, and we'll start into this. I don't want to actually even go there yet. So let's just come across here with a dashboard. Okay, so as you all know, we talked about this, and if you see this on your screen in the middle of the Get Starting screen, and it tells you that order another hotspot, they're at the stage where they've shipped over 7,000 hotspots, and they're at the stage where those who have already installed their hotspot, it's opened up now for you to be able to order a second one if you'd like to, if you have a second location, or if you were wanting to finance and install it, maybe someone that you really like, your kids or whatever, their locations, you can actually order. And when you install that one, you're going to be able to order another one. So that's just one thing I want to point it out here. First thing over here under announcements, let's click on the very top one. That just came out today. And this is all about this call that would be later this evening. And so there's the time, 6 p.m. Pacific time, and we'll be done easily by then. And this call is going to just be giving us some updates on anything that is latest on this light hotspot deployment. And it looks like, it's just one that they hold regularly. I'm not aware of anything hugely major in terms of an announcement, but I just want to make sure that you're aware, and we appreciate you coming to our calls, but getting it right from the horse's mouth also very, very good. The next announcement down, we're going to talk about this light hotspot deployment real quickly. That occurred, and we'll look at some of the Discord communications from Helium directly. But basically, this Helium network is having some major upgrades. Here's what you need to know, and here's how it's going to affect your hotspot. So what is the Helium update about? Earlier today, Helium has pushed some major, this was yesterday, some major updates to their hotspot network. These updates will greatly improve the performance and stability of your hotspots. Your hotspot will be automatically upgraded to what is known as the Light hotspot. It's really just a software upgrade to your boxes. Light hotspots eliminate many of the known issues and stress that can cause poor performance or uptime. However, while this update is being pushed out, please know that there are some expected growing pains that will occur over the next week or so. During the next week, you may notice your hotspot appear to be offline, potentially lower mining rewards, or just acting funky. Not to worry, the best thing you can do is just simply leave it plugged in and let it do what it needs to do, and it'll get updated. How this is going to, how will this update improve the hotspot network? It eliminates many issues that cause hotspots to go offline. It eliminates hotspot syncing issues, no more syncing, and instant HNT mining. As soon as one of your affiliates get their box and plug it in, you won't have this delay before you start earning money or earning HNT. It eliminates all the relay issues. You don't need to go through the process of relaying your port or port forwarding and doing the firewall issues and everything else to get out of that mode of being relayed. And SD card failures due to excessive load of the full disk. And so these are all things that are going to occur, but there is, and we'll talk about them, there are some growing pains that I can kind of attest to for some people. Those are the two kind of announcements that occurred today, and so just be aware of that. Next, I wanted to just go in and show Bob's performance change. So let's just go into his viewer. Let's go from here, right here, hotspot viewer. And we're going to see his box. And again, he's up in Oregon, but he installed his box here in Salt Lake in Murray. And that's the name of his box, Suave Maroon Poodle. So he currently, in the last 30 days, 1.4 HNT has been mined in his box. Last 24 hours, 0.7. So as you can kind of see, it's been recent. I'm going to jump over real quickly. I've got it up on Hotspotty, and you'll see a bar chart that's kind of a little more indicative of what's happened. So he's been installed way back here, but was not earning anything really until that day, May 5th. For some apparent reason, his box got the updates, and it started actually doing much and performing much better. If you want to see it in the Helium view, where do I have it? Oh, I'll have to do it this way. So let's do it. Let's go into Dashboard, and let's go into Hotspot Manager again. And sorry, I had a brain cramp there. We should have just gone here, and we should just, right up here it says View on the Helium Explorer. So I'm just going to open that in a new tab. And you'll see that it's now getting a lot of communication and chances to see it's talking all over the valley now. And so he was quite excited, and hopefully those that want to share during our question and answer, I want to see if any of you have seen a notice or a change in your performance in your boxes. But you can obviously see it was just not performing at all. The little on this view here, the little shaded one is what the average earning is for boxes, and then the dark one is yours. So he was below average, and now he's tracking above average or at average on the earnings on boxes. So that's just one thing he wanted to make sure that I updated you on the progress on his box. So now let's actually talk a little bit more. I'm going to bring over, if I can get it to come over. It's not wanting to come over. Let's see if we can get this to work. Get that one out of the way, maybe. No, this still doesn't want to come over. All right. Let's just do it this other way. Let's switch my screens, if I can do that. Let me click on this screen, apply the change now. Now you should be seeing this. So I'm now in the announcement area of the Helium Discord channel. And, so this is yesterday, Lighthouse Box activation progress update. The activation is going well. The core team has confirmed the packet transfer, hotspots activity, validator performance, our core stability update explorer is underway. So then you can see where all of a sudden they were running into a few issues. They said it was going smoothly. They're preparing the new validator version, and we'll fix some of the snapshot generation. And so you can just follow, if you get an account over here and get signed up to their official channel in Discord, you'll see a lot of the communications activation. So activation is still looking good. We identified some performance improvements for validators and hotspots, so the core team is prepping release for both. We'll keep challenges per block at 400 and continue to observe network performance overnight. So you can just see what they're doing, but then you did catch a couple issues where they've had to do a few updates and some tweaks. And so this is really what I was, they were staging us to let us know that it may not go completely smoothly. But last few things in the network, they're still minus 1,000. That's minus 30% of all validators with their ports unopened and misconfigured. So you can see that they're working through all these issues. And so if your earnings are down a little bit from what you used to have, if it wasn't relayed and having issues, just be aware that we may have a few days of some challenges and bug fixes until they get this full implementation done. So that's one thing I wanted to kind of point out to you. Now let's just go into next. I'm just covering a couple of things that I think are important. I wanted to go over. Let's see what I put up this one on the blog. That was just explaining the highlights. We already went over that last week. Then I wanted to get into, you know what? I did it. There we go. I created a slide, and so now I need to share back the other screen. Give me one moment. Sorry I know Bob, but he does such a good job on his presentations, and I'm shooting from the hip a little bit here, but I wanted to share. Select this one. We'll get it back to my other screen and apply the changes. Okay, so now you should see Bob's, I created a slide, I've blurred the names of individuals and phone numbers, but this is his my network area. And so people in his organization, you see their username and everything else, and of course you have your email. But over here I did the drop down. One of these is activated, and it shows all of the steps that have gone through. For instance, on this one here, that they did not order an antenna. So you have some pretty good view. Tells you when they initiated their application and where they're at in the process. And so if you don't have activated and green, then there's still some work to be done. And if you click on that, it could be blue or whatever it is, and it'll tell you where they're at in the process. And so the recommendation is that you reach out to them, see if they have any concerns or problems or questions, and they need help, and just urge them to move forward. So I just created that slide just to kind of, I know we went over this a little bit one of the last times we were together, but I just want you to know, get in your back office, snoop around, see where people are at in the process, and see what you can do to help them get further along. So let's just talk briefly. I've just created a slide. All of you have been hearing about the markets, both the stock market, crypto markets. Everything is just killing, dying, including our HNT, our loved HNT. And so this is the chart. It's the weekly chart. So it's really basically the full history of the coin since its inception. But we are now, back here over to this where it says E here. If you follow that across, we're at basically, in fact, if you come down to that bottom part of that, we are near where the coin was at the beginning of the year. So we've retraced the full value of the entire year at this point. So are we concerned? Not really. Obviously, there's a lot of things that drove this price down, as well as all other cryptocurrencies for that matter. And there's a lot of fear in the marketplace. And the dollar is so strong that a lot of investment dollars are moving out of equities and out of risky investments and moving back into the dollar. And that's just taking, and as people were seeing their accounts go down, they just said, I got to get out. They just get too much fear and they pull out. Now, I need to really help you understand something. Even though we have, in fact, I'm going to pull it back over here. And let's go into Bob's view again, if I can find it. Yeah. So Bob earned 1.4 in the last 30 days of HNT. But HNT, being so low, that only amounts to $13. But imagine if HNT were 5 times as much as it is right now, or close to it, 4 times, where it was back when it was in the 50s. Well, this is like $50 or $60 or $70 worth of value for that month, and it wasn't a full month for him earning. It's only 7 days or so, 7.5 days, 8 days. So we've got to, even though it shows us the value of how much our HNT is that we mine and what it's worth, you really have to get that out of your head a bit and recognize that the constant here is the amount of HNT that you own. In other words, we want to focus on, while we're mining, and we're trying to collect HNT and hold it for the long term. Or we'll strategically decide when it's appropriate to maybe liquidate some of it. It's a little different mindset than if you are actually investing and you're trying to buy low and sell high and profit from the movement or the price movement of a particular coin. And so as you see, and you say to yourself right now, boy, this is not worth it. My box really is not, in terms of dollars, it's not making anything for me. Why did I even do this? Well, I promise you, if you give yourself a little bit of time to understand that really what your game is to get as much HNT as you possibly can. So back to that slide that I had up, the chart. Let me move this back out of the way. The proper way to view this is if when it was $40, $50 and you said to yourself, boy, I wish I would have bought some when it was $5. Well, these are the opportunities. This is when it's on sale. If you wanted to go ahead and buy some at the very low for the entire year, now's the time to do it. So what I have drawn on here is what they call the Elliott wave. And so Elliott waves have impulse waves, and then they have waves that are recouping or capitulating and dropping back down, and it's just a cycle it goes through. And so we had, starting here, we had a wave 1 a wave 2, a wave 3, a wave 4, and then we hit a wave 5. That completed the impulse wave as far as the Elliott wave theory. So what happens next? It's going to go through a correction. So you've got an A, B, C, D, and I believe we've had an E, which is a final leg for a correction leg in the Elliott wave theory. So a couple other things on this chart that's important to kind of look at. Volume is starting to actually increase, even though they are it's volume and pushing the price lower. But this is the stochastics, and because we're below this green level, we are severely oversold, meaning we've got a lot of upward momentum if we can get it, if we can keep the volume going and we can turn positive. Again, this is weekly chart. This area down here is a heat map. So in 6 different time frames, we are solid green right now. And so this is a bullish bias that's happening right now. So everything is staged and set up so that this might be the bottom that we might see for a while. Now, could it drop down a little lower? It may, but the probabilities now is that we've completed the waves, both the impulse wave and the correction waves, and every indication to me is looking like it's going to start going up. Now, obviously, it dipped clear down here, and it came up to where it's sitting right now. And why did it stop there? Is because that's a resistance level. You can see how it touched it. Here is a support, support, had just a very small resistance here, and this very first bar here, it kind of stopped at that level. So if we can close and continue to close and climb above this, then our next resistance spot is going to be around $18. And I don't know how fast it might take to get up to there, but then finally it could capitulate for a while. And again, each one of these bars is 1 full week before it would climb again. And so we could be starting another impulse wave and climb out of this. But who knows the timing? But just don't panic and say this is dead. It's not going to go anywhere. I have a lot of optimism for the project, and am not concerned at all with the drop in the price right now. Because again, we are mining, and the consistency of the mining has not changed. It's only the price action that has changed when you're having a correction in the marketplace. So I just wanted to cover that and just get into the question and answers at this point in time. That's really the only things that I really planned on covering today. And so hopefully if you guys have any comments, questions, anything I might be able to answer or direct you to get an answer, happy to do that. If you want to share any increase in performance that your box has been having, then I'd love to hear that information as well. So just unmute yourself when you want to talk. So.
Hello, excuse me. Hello, Ron.
Hi.
Real quick question, and you may have been real busy the last few weeks, but my box, I have it and it's activated, and I think the Wi-Fi is not working. Do I need to go the Ethernet route to get it all ready to go? I'm kind of a little bit confused about that.
Yes, I'm glad you brought that up. There is, where is it? Give me 1 second to see if I can find this. It had to do with the, do you have a link dot?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So they had it, and I think it was just in the, give me a second, let me find it, and then I'll pull it across. All right. This one here, maybe you saw this already.
I think I did, but
yeah,
I wanted to check with you.
It was the next news thing that I just didn't open up. But basically it says if you're having trouble with your links dot hotspots, they've contacted the company, and the company has said that they've noticed, they're aware of it, and the majority, it says, it seems the majority of the issues are affected units that are connected to Wi-Fi and not with the Ethernet. So their recommendation here is that you actually plug it into your Ethernet directly and try to leave it there for about 72 hours, and then you can unplug it and go back to a Wi-Fi connection.
Well, part of what confused me is that, like, I thought there was going to be some kind of cloud update. I might be saying it wrong, and it was just like when I would go to iHub videos, they were like, just plug it in and wait a week or two, you know. So, but Ethernet is the way to go, correct?
Yeah, and I would say if you can do it Ethernet all the time, that's I think better. It's more stable. You know, these boxes are trying to earn money or earn HNT, and so if you ever have slow connections and you miss out on one of the epoch cycles or something like that, it could add up that you didn't earn as much as you could have. So yeah, Ethernet is ideal. If it could always be in an Ethernet port, but they do operate on Wi-Fi, and you're welcome to. But I think during this update, you're going to need to give it some time directly connected.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Alrighty. Any other questions or updates on your boxes? If you've noticed any changes? Any other market questions or concerns that you want to send my way or voice? I will. I'll go ahead and. There's Scott Phillips is a person I follow. He's a great analyst. He's a little bit brash with his language, but this was just yesterday a report he put out, and so I'll go ahead and forward this over to Bob. Let him put it out as one of the downloads or a way, with when he puts out the email. But he basically is just as I kind of shared, it says right now Bitcoin has broken below the 2021 lows, so you can buy it for the cheapest price in the last 2 years. So you got, as a retail investor, you've got to really start changing your mentality as to, when the market's a buy and when it's a sell, because I think retail investors tend to do it completely flipped opposite as to the way you should. And so, yes, it's gone further down than a lot of people thought. And there's, like I said, the fear of a recession and the inflation and the Fed changing rates and turmoil in different spots in the world, policy issues, gas prices. There's all kinds of stuff that is causing a lot of fear, and it's caused some spiraling effects that have happened. If any of you have heard, Luna is a big talking point. Luna is a cryptocurrency, but it's a platform, and Luna had a stable coin associated with it, their own stable coin. And what happened there, their stable coin is tied to, it's an algorithmic stable coin. So essentially, it just buys and sells its own Luna coin to back the stable coin, and something got out of whack. Somebody manipulated it or something, and so that stable coin, which is supposed to match the dollar at all times or very close to it, started just tanking, and that just caused all kinds of fear in that coin. That coin lost 97% of its value in a matter of a day, and so those type of news reports getting out has caused a lot of fear, and so you just got to be aware that should you have the same fear sentiment as the rest of the groups out there, or should you be saying, hey, this is my opportunity? And I always try to keep some money dry on the ready to load, so if I can look for opportunities, I can get back in at some lower prices. And so I was still about 2/3 in, which obviously I'm sitting on I'm hodling a lot of coins, but I still have 10,000 or more on the sideline waiting to pick up some good buys once I get a confirmation that things are things are happening. Here's one little chart that's kind of nice. That's the bubble slice, and so it's really showing. Basically, we have been in a bubble. The markets have been just hot on fire, and really, it should be down here at this level. Should have been on the blue line, and now we're coming back in. So this is it's healthy for the market to get these bubbles out of them, and so that we can have some good growth again that isn't so overinflated in prices. So anyway, I'll make sure Bob maybe includes this in the recording and the email that goes out, so you can read this in a little more detail. Any other questions that came to mind?
Yes.
Yes, go ahead.
When you were just talking about the Wi-Fi versus the Ethernet, when you were referring to Wi-Fi, were you talking about like a wireless connection?
Yes. It's
Yeah, because the one service that I want to hook a box up to is strictly a Wi-Fi connection. It's supposed to be receiving 5G, and I'm supposed to get 100 megabits download, but I know it does cut in and out once in a while. Does that pose a problem?
Like I said, it's hard to detect if it's giving you if how stable it is, and if you're missing out on anything. But the challenge is just getting it onto the Wi-Fi. So initially, when the boxes come to you, you plug them into an Ethernet until you get the setup, and then you go to the Helium app, and then that's where you can change it to your Wi-Fi settings.
Well, actually, if I backtrack just a little bit, I do have a hard wire from my computers and my box to the box that's receiving Wi-Fi. So I might not have that issue, I'm guessing.
Yeah, so you're saying you have an Ethernet cable plugged into the back of your hotspot?
Well, I don't actually have my hotspot yet. I'm still been dragging my feet. I haven't
okay.
completed my stuff yet. But where I want to hook it up at work, it is a 5G internet connection that's coming to me wirelessly, but everything that I run at my shop is hardwired in to that box that's receiving wirelessly.
Okay, so in other words, the first point of entry, what you call your gateway, is a wireless connection, a 5G connection?
Yes. So instead of it being a hardwired, yes, instead of being a hardwired cable.
Sorry about that. I'm talking over you.
Oh no, I'm doing the same. Yeah, so instead of it being a hardwired cable coming to my shop, it's coming to my shop wirelessly, but then it goes to hardwire to everything else.
Yeah. You should be fine. So once it comes from that box, which is, I'll call it your gateway, if you're hardwired at that point over to your hotspot, you'll be just fine. In other words, you can't affect or change the fact that your service is coming to you in a 5G wireless path, but making sure that your box is a direct connect to that service, that box that's local to you, the gateway, is all really what we're talking about here.
Oh, yeah, because what I guess I was curious about with the hotspots, if they have kind of like a little buffering or something built in, because I know my connection does cut once in a while because my phone is actually a voice, the VoIP system. Yeah. And I've actually lost calls being on the phone, and occasionally I see the phone do a reset when I know it's lost its connection, but it loses it for milliseconds.
Right. Yeah, you should be fine. What we're talking about, or what I was really referring to, is once you have got your box up and running, and then you want to move it to another location in your house or building, and you can't run a direct line, that's when you would go ahead and switch it onto a Wi-Fi connection, just so that you can achieve placing it where you want to place it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I've done that with other equipment in my shop, but I noticed it slows everything down doing that, so I always keep it hardwired. Yep. So, okay, good deal. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions, or anybody have a update on their box, or that they've seen any?
I have a question for you, sir.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Okay, I got my box at the beginning of the month. I put a 30-foot or 35-foot tower next to my house, put my antenna up there. But is there any way to find out the direction, because it's a directional antenna from what I understand, and I would think you'd want to turn it so that you were heading towards more hotspots than away from them?
Right.
So is there any map that, I know that you guys were showing some maps that showed the antennas going out, hitting areas. I've not found anything like that.
Okay.
Thus far.
Yeah, that's so if you go, it's this one here you're referring to that's on screen, right?
I believe so, yes, sir.
Okay. So let's talk about, do you have, what was the DBI on the antenna that you have on that tower?
What was it, 5.8?
The 5.8. Okay, so effectively, these things are directional. In fact, you can kind of see Bob just has the stock antenna, which is really
an umbrella.
Yeah, it's an umbrella, and so you can see it's hitting all these, kind of in almost every direction, something. Okay, where you get this map is, well, a couple ways. You watched what I did when you go to your. Let's see if I can find it here. We go to the hotspot viewer in here. Okay.
Okay.
Brings you up here. Go to hosted hotspots. Then you'll see yours. Okay. If you click into that one, and then over here it says View on Helium Explorer. That little gray box right there.
Okay.
So all I do is right-click it, open it in a new tab so you don't close out what you're at, and then it will go into helium.com or their Explorer, Helium Explorer, and it will draw this for you just like that. Okay. Now the other way to get there is if you just go to let's just go helium.com. Okay. If you go to helium.com and then under resources, you got this Helium Explorer. And then up here in the right-hand area, you're going to just type in your name, the box's name, the three names for your box.
Okay. And
then it'll draw the same thing for you.
Okay.
So then once you have that, you can see, okay, where am I hitting? Where is it reaching? And if you're not satisfied with it, then maybe you could then point it a little towards maybe more a more populous area, and just tweak it yourself, and then just keep going back and checking that. There are some tools, that these guys have, installers and that kind of stuff that can give you a quick reading as to, pinging one direction or not, but that's not necessary if you just kind of tweak it every once in a while until you get it looks like you got a good direction.
Very good.
All right. Any other comments or questions before we wrap up? Okay. I think that's all I really have for you. I really appreciate, again, taking the time out of your day and joining me, helping me, fumble through this. It's one of these things that's doesn't come completely comfortable for me, but hopefully the information comes across and it's valuable to each of you. So with that, I will close the recording, and you'll watch for this to come in an email probably within the next day or so. Thank you again.